In its current form, Arc Raiders will not work as a PvE only game, and I finally have proof. Now, of course, with enough time and effort, any PvP game can be made to be strictly PvE, but there seem to be a large group of people playing this game that think that the Arc Raiders devs can simply flip a switch and make a map PvE only. And while that may be possible, it will be an absolute borefest, unbalanced mess. So before I show you the proof, I gotta give you a little bit of context so you understand what's happening here on what I'm about to show you. Hang in there, I'll make it as fast as possible. So the TLDR is there are two large streamers, Burnt Peanut and Hutch. They created what I'm pretty sure is a fake rivalry and decided to have more or less a streamer war in-game where they recruited as many people as they could. They thought that queuing up at the same time would somehow work, not taking into account that every streamer has a different delay depending on a bunch of different factors, but I digress. And because of this, what ended up happening is every time Peanut queued up into a lobby, he ended up in a lobby full of people on his team with nobody to fight, which is absolutely fantastic because this gives us an actual representation of what happens if everybody were to queue into a lobby that was strictly PvE, and especially if everybody decided to group up, which would not take much effort to coordinate to be a common thing to do if the game made it an option to queue into PvE only maps. So this group's running to a tower and a Rocketeer rolls up on them, and this is what happens. As you can see, 6 seconds. Now I got this down to the very first shot fired. He actually had perfect camera angle for everything for me to see the very first shot fired. So this is from the very first shot fired until the thing blows up. No grenades were thrown, no wolf packs, no nothing. Everybody just pointed their guns to the sky and shot this thing. 6 seconds. That's all it took to bring down something that is a relatively large threat that can kill you pretty quick and wipe entire teams. It did not even get a chance to fire. It died before it even got a chance to realize what was happening. But guess what? There's more. And this one's even better because this one's less coordinated, which gives us a glimpse into what happens if a group of people is uncoordinated and attacking said large arc. So here is a leaper. This is what I think is the first shot on the leaper. He wasn't looking at it, but I'm pretty sure it was from the first shot fired at the leaper until the point where everybody realized a leaper was coming in and they killed it. Once again, no grenades, no nothing, just pure gunfire. Now I know it says 19 seconds, but it's so close to 20 seconds. We're just going to round up here and say, and even 20 seconds is how long it would take an uncoordinated team to bring down a leaper with no grenades, no nothing. So we have everybody focused fire on a Rocketeer, dead in 6 seconds. Everybody a little uncoordinated, filtering in a little bit at a time. Once again, no grenades, no nothing, just firing their guns, and they destroy a leaper in 20 seconds. It had a chance to leave one time before it died. Now, I know I'm going to get a bunch of people down there in the comments who are going to be like, well, Firespark, they can just make them harder. Yeah, but can they? Do you know how their engine works? Can they just dial up the armor on these things, give them more hit points on a specific map? Is it that easy, or does changing one change it across the entire map? We don't know. And if they are just to increase the armor and the health, how much more would be necessary? Who knows? There are so many details that would need to be figured out in order to balance this in a way that was even remotely fun, and you, one, weren't getting just absolutely romple-stomped by all of the different arc because they can still bring players down relatively quickly, or the players aren't just running around in mass wasting arc before they even get a chance to realize what is happening. And if you somehow think that figuring all that stuff out is easy, please sit down. The adults are trying to have a conversation. Even the most scariest arc would get absolutely destroyed by, let's say, 8 players working together. Think about it. Think about a Bastion. Every time you take out one of its legs, it stuns. If those players were even remotely focused on one leg at a time, it would be stunned the entire time and not get a chance to do anything. So no, the devs can't just flip a switch and make it so that maps are PvE. It would take a crazy amount of time and effort and balancing to just get that to work for the game in its current state. Now, am I saying it could never be PvE? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it's not as easy as some people seem to think that it is. And these two clips are pretty solid proof of the balancing that would have to be figured out in order to try to make this work. And we have no idea what their back end looks like, but it's probably not as easy to do as many people seem to think it is. And I know I'm going to get those people that are down there like, it was originally PvE. Yeah, but how long ago in development? Do you know? How long ago? How much more development has happened since then and balancing has happened since then to get it in the state that it's in now? How much of that would have to be undone? And on top of that, there's a reason they swapped it. Maybe they just couldn't figure out a way to balance it in a way that was PvE only and fun. Now, there is one thing that I think they could do that would be somewhat easy to figure out and would probably be the least effort possible to figure out and balance. And that is essentially a map that is specifically wave survival. Because in that situation, you're just figuring out how many of the arc in their current state can go go up against a certain amount of players for a certain amount of time, and you just ramp up that difficulty. They shouldn't really need to change anything game balance wise. It would just be how many arc do we spawn in at each wave to ramp up the difficulty. There may be some other types of maps that they could do like that, but from everything I know about games, game development, and so on, that would probably be the easiest one to do. But swapping any of the current maps to PvE, no, it's just not going to work. It's going to be an absolute bore fest. Everyone who thinks they'll love it and it'll be the best thing ever will get bored and stop playing it in a day or so. All right, and I think we're going to wrap it up there. I'm not going to linger on too much about it. I just thought this was really interesting and I wanted to share it with everybody because this is pretty solid proof that just turning on a PvE option for the current maps in the game the way that it is right now just isn't going to work. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Hopefully y'all found this video helpful or informational. If you did, please consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you get notified when I upload other videos. And if you're looking for some more of my content, you can find a link to another one of my videos on the screen right now. I want to give an absolute massive shout out and thank you to all of my channel supporters for helping to keep these videos sponsor free. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to become an official channel supporter, check out the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.